Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Friday special of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be with all of you today. Pretty exciting week for us here on the show. It continues today. Gavin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. For those that may or may not know, our Instagram is going to get a lot better. We actually have a third member on our family. I consider us a family. There's three of us now. I'm going to announce who he is at the end of the show, but I'm doing great. How about you, sir?
I'm doing great. Like you mentioned, it's great to be here. We're continuing to grow the show. A lot of big things coming up. We look forward to it. We thank everyone who's been here from the beginning. It's exciting. And so for us, we started out just as a talk show, which is the two of us on the screen. We're adding overlays. We're starting to really increase our volume, really doing our best so that we can provide the best content to our viewers, not just Philly, but more than Philly, the origin of the name that is coming from. So it's going to be exciting. I look forward to continuing with it, and we're going to continue. We're 6 weeks in, Gavin. Today marks the end of week 6.
Crazy. And week 7 is going to be here before you know it. We'll be right back here on Monday with a great week of shows. I mean, this past week was great. Rondell yesterday had a great time with him. We're gonna have him back soon because he said some things that I'm curious to see how the end result's gonna be. And next week we're gonna have Dom on the show. We're gonna get Coach Keith here, and we have a special surprise too with somebody from huge Eagles fan page coming pretty soon, hopefully. So just stay tuned. Next week's gonna be a great one.
I agree, but no, we're still in this week. We still got today's show. Let's get started with it, Gavin.
Yeah,
We're
sure.
talking about, oh, yes, we do. It's going to be a fun show. And we're talking about now Madden. We talked about it a few times here on the show with Madden 21. The top 5 players in the game in the 99 club with the 99 overall were announced. They are Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Donald, and Stephon Gilmore. It's an interesting list. A lot of those guys really were not shockers. But Gavin, I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts after hearing the original list?
I was disappointed, especially today's list, or excuse me, today's 99 overall. I'm not trying to disrespect Michael Thomas in any shape or form or any way. I believe that Michael Thomas is a fantastic wide receiver, but is he 99 worthy? No, he's not. I think Julio Jones is 99 worthy overall, especially. Julio Jones is a monster. Poor Stephon Gilmore or whoever that poor cornerback in the New England Falcons versus Falcons game where Julio Jones just rips the ball from him. That's what Julio does. You can make the case saying DeAndre Hopkins can get 99, but I think Julio Jones goes first. And for me, it takes a lot of things to be a great wide receiver, especially at 99 overall. Route running, catching, and being able to catch the ball in traffic. And for me personally, being able to catch jump balls. Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins can both do jump balls. Michael Thomas is more like your slot kind of post guy, you know what I mean? No disrespect to his game, but when it comes to jump balls, I really don't see him getting them. Now, Michael Thomas has probably one of the best hands in the business. Um, he doesn't drop anything that much, relatively catches everything. If it's on the money, he catches it. Even if it's off the mark, Drew Brees is off the mark sometimes, he catches it. So, Zach, my question for you is if I'm Julio Jones or DeAndre Hopkins, do I take offense to this?
I don't know. I think me personally, the best wide receiver in the league is Julio Jones. Again, route running, hands, contested catches, and so my top 3, 4, give or take, really does go. Starting out with Julio, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, and then a guy like Mike Evans, I can definitely see up there. And then you get into guys like Tyreek Hill, the speedsters, and then you get into guys like Amari Cooper, who are so close, but maybe because of getting shut down by good corners, they're not quite there yet. But I don't get a lot of the Michael Thomas slander. Y'all make fun of him for his slants, and he just runs a few different routes. Shouldn't he be worth a 99 overall because of his ability to consistently run the same route and succeed? If you're a cornerback playing on him, you know he's not running more than 7 or 8 yards past you. He's not going to burn you, but he's so physical. He's so great as a route runner, and he's able to just create that natural separation that he does. So I like that he's the only 99 overall receiver because Julio can get shut down sometimes. He did in the Eagles game versus them, not this year, but a few years ago back in the playoffs. Julio's a great receiver. I think he's the most talented in the league. But 99 overall, it just demonstrates the consistency that Michael Thomas has. I had him in fantasy this year, and he always had 20 points a game. It's great pickup in PPR. Again, is he the best wide receiver? No. But even if you're not the best wide receiver, you can still have the highest overall because of your model of consistency, because of your ability to always be open or at least be able to make catches in traffic. they've dealt with him this year. They've done so much with him, and he's still able to create these catches and get the kind of throws that he has. And he's always got the best corner on him, Gavin. Who else have they had this year? Ted Ginn, a few other guys who are under the radar. But I think that he's definitely gotten the best corner. You think about Amari Cooper, he's got Michael Gallup around him and things like that, where sometimes maybe the cornerback one is going to be in zone coverage or they're going to shift a little bit. Michael Thomas was the only guy there. With Emmanuel Sanders this year, Michael Thomas is only going to get better. And again, I think he is worth where he is as an only wide receiver in the 99 overall. And then finally, yes, respecting his game versus what he does off the field is different, but the overall has no impact on that. And as far as his what he does on Twitter.
Well, you can't go off Twitter and Mr. Philly. I agree with you. He does talk a little too much. But here's the thing: I'm not trying to say because consistency is a big thing. Zach, you're right. It really is. He's consistent. He's going to tell you where he's going to go, and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm going on an out route 5 yards or right to the sticks. You're not going to do anything about it." And what do? He goes there and he catches the ball. But when I make the case for Julio Jones, you got to think about Matt Ryan's been off his game the past ever since his Super Bowl loss. And for him, Julio Jones to still have a decent year, sometimes good year, or to still do what he does. And remember, Julio Jones is a little bit on the older side of the spectrum. He's like 31, 32-ish almost. Give someone fact check me if I'm wrong. But look, Julio Jones has still been able to produce even with a horrible Matt Ryan at some days. Even though Julio Jones gets the number one corner, he still gets, his, just like Michael Thomas. Remember, Drew Brees is throwing Michael Thomas the ball. Matt Ryan is throwing Julio Jones the ball. Now it's going to be Kyler Murray throwing DeAndre Hopkins the ball. So, and say, I want to go back to the point you made. You said Mike Evans, right? And then you said Tyreek Hill. If you are making a list of wide receivers to rate or give overall in Madden, where will Odell Beckham Jr. fall?
Probably give him a 92. I think his route running is probably the cleanest in the league. His agility, his hands, obviously. I think he had a little bit of an underrated year. If you have bad quarterback play, your rating will fall. It's just part of the game. It's just tough. And so he's got Jarvis Landry on his team too. I think that in reality, Landry actually was getting cornerback too a lot of the year. I think a lot of the year a lot of teams overhyped Odell being on the team, which allowed Landry to have a great year. But you also have Baker Mayfield throwing you the ball. He's got some room to improve on. But other than that, I agree. I think Odell has top 5 potential. Again, he's had one big catch that everybody's loved him, but he's always been a really great player who has had the model consistency, even with a guy like Eli Manning. You got to feel for a guy like him. With that being said, Gavin, let's talk about the running back on the 99 overall, Christian McCaffrey. Fair or not fair?
Well, before I get into that, thank you, Philly. Julio Jones is 31 years old in the prime. About to get the end of his prime, maybe another year. But still, I won't read another comment. He'll fall on the injury reserve too soon. That is true. He will. And I hope not, because I don't like wishing injury.
Oh, and also one thing too. Odell Beckham did have the core injury last year, similar to Deshaun Jackson, that he muscled through. So big things coming up for Odell this year.
So back to the question: 99 overall for Christian McCaffrey. I like it. I really do. Christian McCaffrey is a do-it-all running back in the pass game, in the run game. He kept that team relevant this whole year. Look, Zach, I have him on fantasy football, and I felt like every day was a holiday for me because every Sunday or every Thursday or every Monday he was playing, you knew you were going to get 25 points. If I'm down 30 and I have 2 players going and one was Christian McCaffrey, I already know I'm coming back because it's guaranteed Christian McCaffrey. Do I believe he should be 99? Yes. Now, could you make a case for another back being running 99? I think so. But there was no one as close to his stature that deserved to be a 99 this year. There's one person on the running back list I'm not happy that's only an 80 overall. And me and Phil, we got to talk about this the other day. Was Miles Sanders only 80 overall? And I know he, this is his second year. He didn't have a bad rookie campaign.
Not at all.
Not at all. I think Miles Sanders should have been at 83, 84 almost. And I know Ezekiel Elliott and our guest on here that's coming up pretty soon has a lot to say about Ezekiel Elliott, and he's not happy about how we treated Ezekiel Elliott. Not one bit. And but Zach, let me ask you this question. 1, do you think it's fair for Miles Sanders to be 80? 2, Ezekiel Elliott, do you like his rank behind Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey? And 3, do you like Christian McCaffrey's overall?
I do like Christian McCaffrey's overall. I think that McCaffrey's really been a great player, and he's a good wide receiver too. Part of the rankings in the overall, when you break it down, receiving ability, pass catching, contested catching, blocking, things like that. As far as Miles Sanders, I'm not terribly upset with the 80 overall because he didn't have a wide window last year to work with. He was in after Jordan Howard's injury, but I like where he is. He's going to definitely bounce up this year. We as Eagles fans have probably seen paid attention to him more than Madden rating adjusters have. So I'm fine with where he is right now, and I hope to see him really prove that wrong and continue to move forward and become better. But then finally, Gavin, as far as Ezekiel Elliott is concerned, he definitely took a step back last year for the team. Look, the Dallas Cowboys, when your team is terrible and the momentum is all gone, I mean, even Madden rating adjusters are going to knock on your team a lot. It's just part of it. If he was on a team that went to the playoffs, I'm sure that people would pay attention to him a little more, even though the Dallas Cowboys are almost guaranteed to have a 425 game with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman every Sunday. But with that being said, I think that Zeke is going to be determined and motivated this year. At least he should be. But at the same time, I think it's fair where he is. But then again, Saquon Barkley was out with an injury last year, didn't really look like himself until the very end of the season. So it's an interesting one for me. I'm kind of a toss-up a little bit in the middle as far as that's concerned. I do think that Saquon Barkley is better than Zeke as far as talent is concerned. But again, last year, just basing off what we have, it definitely is a little bit of a tough comparison.
Well, speaking of Ezekiel Elliott, and I know once again we got a Cowboys fan on here that can't wait to defend Ezekiel Elliott. But I'm gonna go on the limb and say Zeke, Madden did way worse to you in Madden 20 than they're gonna do in 21. Look, Ezekiel Elliott in Madden 19 had like 94 speed, 95 speed, like 96 acceleration, and like 95 agility, right? This year, his speed was down by 3 or 2. He went to 92 speed, 90 agility, 1 acceleration. Because of your trip to Cabo and you came back a little bit heavier this year, which
And a lot richer.
Good for you. And I would love to have your contract. But I honestly think that Ezekiel Elliott lost a lot of steps this year too. He didn't look as supposed to look as we always us Eagles fans hate to see. And he wasn't really jumping over, players this year. He looked really average to me. It looked like Tony Pollard could have been the answer last year for a little bit. They didn't need to pay Zeke right away. So let me go on a limb and say this. I think him be behind Saquon Barkley is correct, and Christian McCaffrey is correct. But I don't know if you would throw. I don't think you can throw anyone else ahead of Zeke after that. I know Zeke went on a little Twitter rant last night and was upset. That's all right, but just know, your actions had consequences, and if your consequences was your production wasn't the best this year, and your Madden rating went down. And for those that think people don't care about Madden rating, they really do.
I agree with that. So we do have just another minute before we get to our next segment, Gavin. So final statements on this. Aaron Donald, Stephon Gilmore, Patrick Mahomes. Any contest of them being a 99 overall?
Well, if you think about Stephon Gilmore was the best corner in the whole league. But in my opinion, we've seen corners be, great corners after 1 year and then next year look horrible. Josh Norman did exact. Josh Norman got it was a contract year for Josh Norman. Remember, he locked on OBJ, Julio Jones twice. There was someone else thrown up in there. That was a Super Bowl year. And the fact that he got 99 now, Stephon Gilmore, I hope he shows us why he was a 99.
I think he is.
Outside
Devontae Parker.
Well, yeah. But, I don't disagree with it. I think Aaron Donald deserves to be 99, but you can make a case for somebody else being a 91 on the defensive line. Chandler Jones got disrespected big time in his rating. And I want to read this comment. The fact that Josh Jacobs got 80 overall, Miles Sanders has got 80, and he had a better season. I can see that, but remember, Mr. Philly, Josh Jacobs did miss a couple games with a shoulder injury as well.
Right. Well, to continue talking about that in the future, we hope Miles Sanders goes out there and really proves his caliber.
1,000 yards this year.
Hope for 1,000. I'd like to see it. All right, now, Gavin, your first round draft choice in fantasy football, and you had 1 week with him. So, not to do anything to you like that, but
you have to bring it up.
Antonio Brown. We know the Antonio Brown saga. We know what he's done. We know what has been done. We know his past, but we don't know his future, and that's why we're here. So, first of all, Gavin, is Antonio Brown going to return to the NFL? And second, where is the best fit for him?
First of all, Antonio Brown, you owe me a first-round pick back because I picked you first, all right? I thought this whole John Gruden thing was going to work, and then next thing you know, you get released, and I kept you, and then you went to New England, like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic, and then you just couldn't stop, man. All right, now the emotion out the way. I think there's a 25% chance he can return back to the NFL. I think there is, but it's going to take a lot of proving. And when you get on a team, you cannot act out. Remember, Zach, Antonio Brown's been acting out for the longest time, especially this past year. Talking about fighting a YouTuber, talking about the case with his girlfriend, and then
Helmet
the
situation,
helmet
and
situation,
throwing a
the trainer,
football at Big Ben. That was the start of it all.
the trainer,
Frostbite.
the frostbite. There was a lot of things. Zach, I can't even remember. So you want to go to best fit? There's only 2 teams I can think of, maybe even 3 teams, but this third team's a shot. I'm gonna get to the third team last. One, the Baltimore Ravens. Why not? You bring Antonio Brown on like a 1-year, $3 million deal. He can't ask for much. He's on a short lease with the NFL and with any team that picks him up. So why not? You're like, AB, if you act up, it's on $3 million. You gotta get out of here. If you don't act up $3 million and you stay, we can bring you back for next year. You know what I mean? So if you look at Antonio Brown and you're thinking, well, how to Antonio Brown, just don't act up. The second team could be the Seattle Seahawks. Remember, Russell Wilson goes, Antonio Brown, they worked out together.
Yeah, we're looking out loud.
They worked out together with each other, one another, and that could be a good fit. And the long shot, and this is gonna get the comments rolling. What about the Philadelphia Eagles? I know we don't need them, but like once again, Zach, you made this great point. If you thought Deshaun Jackson was gonna play a full year with his age, you're wrong. Alshon Jeffrey the same way, you're wrong. Why not? Like I said, the short lease is the thing. You got Antonio Brown is on bad terms with a lot of teams. Why don't you bring him in on a $3 million deal? What he acts up, you get rid of him, right? So Zach, my question for you is: Antonio Brown in Philly or Baltimore or Seattle?
How about Tampa Bay?
That would be unfair. But once again, every team in the NFL can technically get
Antonio Brown.
You could bring him in on, like I said, $3 million deal. Doesn't hurt at all. $3 million. Everybody got $3 million. I know I don't got $3 million.
Every football team, though.
Every football team got $3 million. So I think any team can bring him in. It's just, it's just he can kill a locker room vibe. He can.
Right, and so I definitely give some of my thoughts on that as well. Philly, first of all, I think it's not a bad idea. Slot guy, really explosive, can do things like that. It wouldn't hurt Carson to have that. I don't want that in my locker room personally, but yeah, it's always an option. Definitely Baltimore, definitely Seattle. But it's a bold take, but the best place for Antonio Brown was and probably still is Pittsburgh. I know he's not going back there. I know they're not going to bring him back, but Juju Smith-Schuster is not a wide receiver one. I was talking to a Steelers fan yesterday. He said, yeah, the Steelers are a good team, but they got a bunch of wide receiver twos. And it's not wrong. Deontay Johnson, James Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Schuster's better than both of them by a long shot. But at the same time, you need someone to absorb your cornerback one so Juju can really go off the way he did with AB. And last year he struggled. We saw that. He's hurt, I know, in and out of the lineup. Quarterback play was obviously not great. But in my opinion, the best fit for Antonio Brown still is Pittsburgh. And they really would have been able to do something if he was there with the defense they have now. It's such a shame that him and Le'Veon Bell left a year early. But whatever happens, happens. And then, Tampa Bay is a long shot. They said they don't want to sign him, but that would be the best wide receiving core probably in the history of the NFL.
I want to bring up another comment. Mr. Phil, you're going off today, man. My personal long shot, Titans. He thinks the Titans, you got Tannehill, you got Henry, you got A.J. Brown, and then you put A.B. That could be dangerous.
I agree.
Once again, like I said, $3 million is not a lot. And he's on a short lease, so you can definitely get him on the cheap. You can't go out and ask for $20 million like you did before.
I agree. I think that'd be a good spot for him as well. We talked about the Titans a lot yesterday, but we'll continue with that. See if Antonio Brown does decide to turn a corner and join a team. We'll figure out what happens. Maybe the Saints. That'd be kind of cool too. That'd be a Twitter disaster with Michael Thomas, like they'd talked about before. But we'll trace back to it. Right now, we're going to get on to the NBA, and before we have our guest segment on, let's talk about it. Zion Williamson, who reportedly had an injury Thursday. It was pretty irrelevant to the reason that he had to leave for some personal family matters. Again, what's today, the 17th, so about a week and a half until the actual season starts. So if Zion's back in a few days, 10-day to 14-day quarantine, it seems like he'll have to get daily testing, things like that. But should the Pelicans be concerned with Zion leaving, and what could this mean potentially for them? And even, Gavin, I know your thoughts on the bubble have changed a little bit, but maybe that might change here with him leaving the bubble, coming back, seeing how that works in the future.
Well, remember, guys, these guys have families. their life doesn't stop. They got a life outside the game. Zach, we got a life outside of the school and the show. You can't, you cannot just sit there and be like, yes, all these guys are in Orlando, right? But let's say like LeBron James, if Bronny got seriously hurt, I'm going back to LA to go be with my son.
Yep.
Family, look, I was always taught this. Families forever, friends come and go. You know what I mean? I might have said that wrong, but but hey, it has the same meaning. Meaning, no matter what happens in life, your family's always supposed to be there, always will be there. Friends on the other hand, friends come and go. So we've been friends for a long time. So friends, some friends are here to stay forever. But I don't think this is a big deal. Obviously, he's going to follow the protocol, and that design's not a dumb kid. He came out of Duke, so of course he's going to know, the risk he's taking and not the consequences, but what he has to do to get back into the bubble as well. So I don't see the problem with it. I think for people that are making a big problem, be like, oh, you can't leave. Guys, remember, they're human beings as well. They're family men as well. Everybody has a family. Kevin Walker said, leave it for him. I remember his quotes were, I don't have much at home. Just some to not want to go to the bubble, but he still has a family as well. So I don't see a big problem with it. Zach, how about you?
Not a big problem as far as should the Pelicans be concerned. Obviously, he won't be able to do the full on scrimmages that they'll be doing next week, starting the 22nd. I think that is. They're starting some scrimmages. There's 4 games for each team, so he'll miss out on that. But if he comes back, he's got to do the quarantine period and the double negative test. He'll be able to play. So I don't know. The Pelicans are definitely going to be a team to watch. We've talked about it before. I think they could potentially take that 8 seed from the Grizzlies, but we'll have to see what happens. There's definitely a bunch of teams there with going on that they can potentially go on and do something, but I don't think this is a major concern for the Pelicans. I think he'll be back on time. And worst case scenario, I mean, he'll come back probably right as the season is starting back up. His conditioning's obviously been a big concern. He's definitely reported to lost weight, so maybe that will all help. I'm sure he's doing whatever he can to stay fit, but at the end of the day, nothing really replaces playing full 5-on-5 basketball. So he's going to miss out on that. So we'll have to see how they transition him back in. They only have 8 games. Yeah, and they only have 8 games to get in, so it's going to be tough.
Real quick, this is another thing I don't like about the media, man. They're making something small, a small little thing into something big. The narrative is how will the Pelicans fare out? They'll be fine. They'll be fine. The man didn't play, the first couple months of the season, and look where they are. They're on the outside looking in. Not that much, but they're still on the outside looking in. So just relax. Just relax.
And definitely, as the comment says, they still have Brandon Ingram, also Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, JJ Redick off the bench, Derek Favors. They're a good team. I like where they're going. I don't know if they're a playoff team without Zion, just because they have such a tall mountain to climb. They had to go like 7-1, 6-2, and the Grizzlies need to drop a few games. The Blazers need to not be able to win any. And we'll see what happens, though. But we'll definitely have more reporting on it going soon. So definitely some interesting stories there.
Definitely.
All right. So following this message, we do have our guest coming on. We'll be talking Dallas Cowboys as well as our starting fives. So all that and more after this. Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this. And again, we are going to be donating this month to an organization supporting minority entrepreneurs. It should be a lot of fun. We're continuing to learn more about it, potentially bringing on one of the founders, hopefully in the future. So definitely some exciting stuff coming up, Gavin. We're going to continue with that. But as well, we also have our guest coming on now. He's been on before, on again. Trent, how you doing today, man?
Good. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me. I love the show, man. I'm glad I'm back.
No, thank you for coming back. And I remember yesterday you were a little upset about some of the Ziggy Elliott comments that were made on yesterday's show. So we had to bring you on here today. Well, obviously to talk some basketball with you too, but we gotta let you hear. I want to know what you had to say about Zeke, man. So my question for you is, what How do you feel about the Madden rating? First off,
Madden ratings, they're goofy in the type of sense. You know, Tom Brady's not no 90. Tom Brady on the field is a 95 at least. Aaron Rodgers, you're on the field with them. The ratings, I think, just are more to get the fans upset and the players upset because these guys are like Zeke a 91 and Saquon a 92. They're 95s at least.
he has a point. That's a good point.
I agree. It's not a surprise. It's like on
Julio. What did Julio get? Do you guys know?
Not a 99 what Michael Thomas got. We know that.
Michael Thomas he broke the record. I give Michael Thomas the 99, but if he's a 99, Julio has to be a 98 with DeAndre Hopkins right behind him.
So let me ask you this question then. Going back to yesterday's show, we had Rondell on the show. One of our good friends.
My brother.
So he came out and said, that the NFC East, or you said that yesterday, the NFC East has the best running backs, right? And we got into talking about Ezekiel Elliott and running back being paid. So let me go over what I said, and I want to get your comments and thoughts. I said Ezekiel Elliott, deserved his money, but I don't think it should have been first. And I think he had a lot of off the field issues. I know we talked about that yesterday for a little bit about his off the field issues and things, and how Dak is like a yes sir, yes please type of guy. So let me ask you this question: with knowing all of these off the field issues that Ezekiel Elliott had, would you have paid Zeke first before Dak or no? And as high?
Yeah, because if you really watch the offense, they're putting 8 in the box. So Amari Cooper is going to get the double over the top when you're covered 2. So now you have Gallup and Cobb. Cobb had probably he was top 5 in drops. And that's more of a Dak, him getting his receivers on the same page. So if you really watch the game, you know that Zeke and that offensive line basically creates that offense. That's what happened against the Eagles when Amari Cooper went off. So the Eagles are like, no, we're not going to let Zeke do anything. And they doubled Amari Cooper, and then we struggled, and that's why we lost the second game. But you got to pay whoever your top guy. I don't care if it's a running back, wide receiver, and Julio Jones, obviously. Matt Ryan fell off when Kyle Shanahan left. But hopefully what you want is your quarterback to be your top player. But we seen with Ryan Tannehill, they got to the AFC Championship. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is a top 10 quarterback, but he did his job because Derrick Henry in the line made it easy for him to make those throws, and the defense held their own. So defense is foremost. That's what I say. Defense wins unless you get a Patrick Mahomes or just exceptional type of quarterback at that position. But you got to pay who's leading your team. I don't care if it's the running back, offensive lineman, left tackle, whoever's leading that team, you got to pay them, man. They deserve it.
So as far as the defense is concerned, do you think the defense takes a step back this year given the losses in the secondary and the front four?
Hopefully. Are you talking about the Cowboys, correct?
Cowboys, yep.
Yes.
Now, Van Der Esch is back. Van Der Esch should be back healthy. I know that was one of the big issues, but you also lost Byron Jones, obviously, Jeff Heath, and then a few guys up front.
So if you remember the Patriots, when Josh Norman came into his own, that front four and the linebackers with Kuechly it was like you weren't getting 5 yards. You were basically getting 2 threes. So that's why that defense was so good. So the secondary, if you have a Stephon Gilmore, it's way easier. You just put him on an island. He follows whoever around. You seem to have it with Amari Cooper. Whoever he guards is pretty much out of the equation for the offense. But I would like to see, they're telling me, I'm reading Bleacher Report, they're telling me that they're going to make new schemes and all that. DeMarcus Lawrence is still on the line, probably top 5 pass rusher. You could put him anywhere. But I don't know if it'll be a step back. It'll be something to see. It kind of reminds me of the Eagles year when they had a bunch of guys coming in. And when they had that front line, even when they got the rookie, I forget his name, when he came in there, that front line is the reason why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. You really couldn't do nothing with Fletcher Cox out there, Brandon Graham rushing, and they just kept subbing them in. And they got Timmy Jernigan that thing in the trade. So that's the reason why. That front line pretty much, and you've seen it with the 49ers this year with Bosa and them boys. So that front line, we have that front line, so I can't wait to see. I hope so.
You also have the rookie Diggs coming out of Alabama in the corner. If he comes into his own, it's a good replacement for Byron Jones, but you also have Awuzie in the secondary. He'll probably take on a lot of wide receiver ones this year. Should be a fun matchup to see. But no, shifting back to the offensive side of the ball, and I know Gavin has a question next, but where do you think Dak lies within how much he really should be paid? And I don't know if you've been on here before when I explained the argument as far as how you should pay a quarterback. If a quarterback can carry a team and absorb some losses, for example, on the wide receiver part, or even when the running game's lacking, then they are worth paying enough money to the point where you really can't give monster contracts out to other guys. And then when they're system quarterbacks, I know that a lot of guys say it's an insult, in my opinion. Being a system quarterback is a compliment because all you got to do is do your job. And I don't know if Dak's that. I think Tom Brady more or less is a somewhat system quarterback, still the GOAT. But with that being said, system quarterbacks definitely should not be paid as high as some of the other guys. But where, in your opinion, as a Cowboys fan, do you see Dak?
And I think I'm like with Dak, he's grading off the scale. And I know this won't make people mad, but him and Carson Wentz are basically at the same scale. If Carson doesn't get hurt, I think Carson will be at a higher ceiling. But Dak's numbers to Carson, I think, are a little bit better. He has the playoff win, and Carson went through the injury bug. So Dak seeing that, that's where he's basing his number off of. But through the play, it hasn't come to that number, and that's why the Cowboys are letting him go on a franchise tag. It kind of reminds me of the same position as Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins should have deserved that money. He was playing good, but am I going to pay him that money, and is he going to take me to the next level? That's what I want to see, and I think this is a big year for Dak, and we'll find out.
Yeah, no doubt. So to keep on the Dak Prescott conversation, I was a big fan of Dak, especially when it came to getting his money. You know me, Trent. I'm always about people getting their bread. You know, everybody getting theirs. You know, I'm a big believer in that. But and I was, and then I started looking over the numbers, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, Dak, you never beat a playoff team yet. You remember he loses to you lost to a Drew Breesless Saints. You lost to the New England Patriots, which we did well, but you guys lost by 2 possessions. And also as well, teams that you do beat are below 500. You beat the Miami Dolphins and
We lost too.
and then you lost to the Jets as well. But we lost to the Dolphins. So Sean, my question is, how can you pay a guy that doesn't show up in big games but can beat the smaller fish?
So that's the big question. I think that's why Dallas hasn't paid him. But we do have a win. We beat the Lions. He has a playoff win. Got to count him for that. But like you said, he's losing to the teams that you want to beat and then beat it. And then we lost to a couple teams that we should have beat. But I think that's where underneath lies. So if he comes out and has the year that he should, he's going to make more than, because you just seen Patrick Mahomes' contract just ridiculous, and he deserves every penny. But so it's kind of I think that's what Kirk Cousins think. I'm just going to bet on myself, and I'm going to get that money at the end. And people think the franchise is so bad. It's basically a top 5 contract and you get guaranteed more money. So I don't like the franchise tag. I think they should. I don't like how NFL does guaranteed money. Like, that's why I like NBA. I'm an NBA guy when it comes to that, because they get paid. But Dak's playing, he's betting on himself, and I can't blame him. So if he has the year he should have, they put the weapons around him. I mean, we might see the wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb in the slot or Gallup in the slot. And then you have Amari Cooper. So he has the weapons. He still has Zeke back there. The line, I think Travis Frederick's a big hurt, but he's betting on himself, man. This is a big year for him. I can't wait to watch.
No, I agree. I said that before. I think for Dak, if he wants to go out and prove he's top 5 quarterback, go out there this year and play it. And then last year, just knowing football, I mean, the quarterback record, unfortunately, is not really the best indicator on how a quarterback is. I think it's unfair sometimes to use that. But with that being said, how many games would you purely put on the defense last year, saying, okay, the offense did their job this game, the defense lost it for us? And for that, I know it can be tough looking at the score and be like, okay, well, we still scored this many points. I'd say going into the third quarter, you're down by a lot. Perhaps that's more of the defense. In the Packers game, they put up a lot of points at the end, but they were already out of that game. And Chicago, the same thing on the Thursday night game, they were already out of it. But how many games would you purely put on the defense this year?
Honestly, I thought the defense played well. It wasn't like a blowout. So I give a 3 touchdown radius. A team should score 3 touchdowns. If I can keep a team within 3 touchdowns, my offense should be able to put 3 touchdowns up, especially our offense. And we weren't doing that. And that's why I don't think the Cowboys paid them. So that's what I think. And then they went out and got the weapons. I think they really are giving Dak, like, here's your year. We want to see what you can do. And then hopefully it works out. But I really didn't put that much. The defense wasn't getting blown out or making bonehead plays. They actually played above my standard, because I never liked our secondary. But I feel like we just tried to fill those holes. We got Ha Clinton Dix. I like that pickup. Jordan Banks is going to be the slot corner. Like you said, we have Woozier. He's probably going to play a lot of one. So can't wait to see. I don't think the defense played pretty good. And we lost Vander Esch, which is probably a top 5 linebacker. So it's just Jalen Smith out there getting all the double teams on the block. So I can't wait to see.
Yeah, no doubt. And my last question for the Cowboys, and we're gonna switch it to basketball for you. So you talked about everything, the offensive line, the pieces they have around them. I go back and I look at games. I'm like, well, they lost on Thanksgiving, and some other games as well. So, and then the defense as well is losing. So there was a lot of times where the defense was holding their own, and then Dak wasn't able to get the offense rolling, and then the bend don't break. After a while, stuff has to break. So a lot of those games, Dak was throwing the ball, and that's why the Cowboys offense was like top 10, top 5, and like most offense, most offense in the whole league. So my question for you is, who's more at fault when it comes to those type of games? Is it the defense or is it the offense, or was it Jason Garrett not being able to get the offense?
That's what it is. Jason Garrett, man, he had to get out of there. I think he lost the temperature of the locker room, and it can happen. I feel the same way with Brett Brown. I think he's lost the temperature of the locker room where guys just don't feel like he's putting it out. And then we got offensive coordinator. We kept him this year. Mike McCarthy's an offensive guy, so I'm not really worried about that. But we got Kalen Moore, who was just backing up, who I didn't like. But we got Mike McCarthy. He kept him, so Mike McCarthy must know what he's doing. I think he's going to handle more of the offensive side anyway. You seen what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' stats went crazy when Mike McCarthy was running this system. So, and I believe that Mike McCarthy thinks that Dak can do the exact same things with Aaron Rodgers by getting out of the pocket, extending plays. And Dak's already been doing that. But as you watch this year, he really wasn't doing that. I think they try to make him more of a pocket passer, getting that stereotypes. Like you see Lamar Jackson, you Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers is a good one. These guys don't have to be pocket passers, man. Let them get out and run different offenses. Dak's one of the best passers on the bootleg because you got a play action with Ezekiel Elliott, who's the best running back in the league. He has 5,400 yards in 4 seasons, and he only played 10 games. All right, I'm done with that. But that's what I'm saying. Mike McCarthy. So I think that was Jason Garrett had to get out of there.
Right. And so one thing, too, is before we shifted over to the NBA, one thing that Dak does do well, and I spoke about Daniel Jones yesterday with the Kirk Cousins, they do the basics well. Sometimes with Carson Wentz, you ask him to drop back and throw a 5-yard out route, and he'll air mail it, and then he'll go out and throw a ball off his back foot. So that's one thing I do like about a guy like Dak and other guys who are more like that, maybe not necessarily a pocket passer, but they do the basics well. And so if you have a system around them, then they should be able to flourish. And like you said, getting him more involved this year, I think running the ball is a huge key for that team. You can't fall behind in games and never run the ball. The Eagles had that problem last year too, where they just would abandon the run game, and then the quarterback can't do it all himself. So, but no, we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be fascinating as we continue to progress with the show. We'll see how, hopefully, if we have a football season, that it will go.
Most definitely.
Well, my final thoughts. How dare you say Zeke's one of like the best running backs in the league? But there's a man in Tennessee that's not happy with anybody. He just runs. Hold on, wait a minute. He runs over everybody he sees. Ask poor old Thomas. He's been a meme ever since the playoff. All right. So I'm not going to get into you with that right now. That's not what that is. I'm going to switch gears with you with going into go ahead.
Quick stat: since 2000, 4 running backs have ran for the rushing title. LT, Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Zeke. And Zeke only played 4 seasons.
All right. Well, when you're running around the great wall of everything, so I would run. Look, when the wall, Zach, when that wall was so great, guess what? They make me look. I'll put my stuff on. I'll get my wheelchair. I'll go rolling through that offensive line. That's how easy it is.
Opinions and numbers. I know the numbers don't lie. I'm looking at them right now. The numbers don't lie.
Well,
the numbers don't lie.
You can't argue with numbers, but I mean, let's switch gears, man.
Yeah, please.
We'll continue that sometime, but that's the take of the day with Ezekiel being the best running back in the league. Gavin says Gavin goes with Derrick Henry. I'm still going with Christian McCaffrey, but we'll have to continue that for another day. So let's get to it. I'll kick it off. Let's start with the Sixers first. Before we get into the starting fives, but Ben Simmons at the power forward position. It's been talked about before. I'm personally excited about it. we've been asking this for years. Why is he not a power forward? 6'10", has great handles, yes, but lacks a jump shot. Maybe now he'll start shooting more. But other than that, he can defend 1 through 5. He sounds very confident. I don't know if anyone's heard sound bites from him, but he sounds very excited and really confident. And I'm not gonna say it's uncharacteristic of him, but he's usually a lot quieter and mellow. But he sounds very amped, and he sounds very determined. So Trent, let's get some of your initial thoughts on that. Ben Simmons going from the 1 to the 4.
I mean, Sixers fans been calling for it since he's been playing because we see it. I think it's just like I said, it's the coach, man, Brett Brown. But I'm glad he acknowledged it. He's trying something different. Like I said, if you put him at the 4, displacing will be fine. He's going to be more down low with a bucket, and then you can run him out in a pick and roll, then swing it to him, and now he's going downhill. So, I mean, we've been calling for a while. Move Al Horford to the bench. They're looking like Shake's going to start taking over the point guard duties. So them it's be Shake, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. That's a starting 5.
So how much confidence do you have in Shake Milton going into the playoffs? I know we've seen him play well. He's had, I think, 17 consecutive threes. He tied the record for it, and he also went off in that Clippers game out in LA. Do you think that Shake Milton really can be the answer for them? And even if he's not being the dominant scorer, he can be a facilitator. Ben's proven that he can be a dominant scorer this season. Think about that Cavaliers game, even though it's a soft defense, but he dropped 130 points in that game. Him and Joel down low might be a good mix, but do you think that Shake Milton can be the answer up top?
I mean, most definitely. It was a good long stretch. That's when Ben was hurt. He was hooping. So I think the team has confidence in him. I've been watching Matisse Thybulle's blogs. They look like if you haven't checked them out, they're pretty good. But they look like the teams.
I watched that first one, yeah.
Yeah, the teams look like they're cohesive, man. I like Shake Milton. Shake Milton, 6'4" guard. He's combo guard, and now he's shooting a 3. So Ben comes back in. So Ben goes downhill. You kind of can't help on that side because Shake's been knocking it down. Tobias on the other side. You have Joel Embiid who can do a little bit of keep him inside, but he can go outside. And then Josh Richardson been knocking it down. So it's going to be like the new NBA, man. It's 5 out. So it's going to be interesting to see.
So, first of all, I know you've been calling for it at the 4 for the longest time for Ben Simmons to go there. And I mean, Brett Brown finally must have either opened up Twitter or something or heard somebody with his ears out because he heard us. He heard somebody. So let me ask you this question. If this works, right, let's say the Sixers go to the Eastern Conference Finals, they lose to Milwaukee or somebody, and Ben Simmons at the 4 works. So now I'm Elton Brand in the offseason. Do we bring in a better point guard?
The game's positionless. So, like, Ben playing a 4 is just saying Ben's not going to be on the ball. Basically, you have your point guard. So Ben was playing a pure point guard, and that's what the problem was. So I don't know if you need a point guard. The Sixers need a person that can score on their own, like a Jamal Crawford type who we didn't get. I don't know why. I'm not going to go into that. But we need somebody who can go score on their own. Tobias Harris is good at that, but he doesn't do it consistently. You need somebody like a Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard. When you just say give him the ball, we'll run this 4
Jimmy
out.
Butler, like how he was last year.
Jimmy Butler gets
the reckless guy we're in a cold streak is able to hit that shot for us.
Jimmy Butler has no you can't be like, yo, he hits this mid-range jumper, he has a turnaround. But when he has to get 2 points, he'll put his head down to get 2 points. That's what the Sixers need. We need somebody who perimeter base can just put their head down, dribble the ball. We don't need to play for this guy. He's going to go score 2.
Allen Iverson was about 19 years too early here.
Yeah, oh man, he would fit perfectly with this team. They just play defense and he just played offense.
Be great.
Well, Phil in the comment section said we should get DJ Augustine to the bench here in Philadelphia, which I guess
that'd be a good pickup.
We can use some. So you talk about the go getter, basically to put your head down and run.
Fred VanVleet's a free agent too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Fred VanVleet, that's another good one.
I'll take him. It's clutch last year.
Clutch, yeah. So going back to the point guard position, you talked about we need someone to go get it on his own. What about like a guy like a Derrick Rose maybe, or someone you can kind of give him on the cheap maybe, a Derrick Rose type. DJ Augustine's not bad for at least right now. Maybe we can go out and get like a Reggie Jackson from
a guy with handles and able to knock down the mid range shot. I think.
Yeah. So
Kawhi, when Kawhi steps into a 15-footer, I think goes in almost every time.
You just don't even look at it. It's automatic.
So what would you feel about like Derrick Rose to the Sixers maybe?
Honestly, personally, I think Derrick Rose doesn't want to leave anywhere Like he doesn't want to. He didn't go to the LA because he didn't want to leave Chicago. I think Derrick Rose likes going home. That charter flight is a little bit less from Detroit to Chicago, but I would love Derrick Rose. I think he has one more year left on his contract at $7 million, so maybe we can get him on the trade deadline. But I would love one of them guys. But we have to figure out, like you said, it has to be a cheap guy. We have to figure out with this Horford situation, are we going to keep him or not? Because if we basically keep him, Ben Simmons' contract I think kicks in next year. So our cap's pretty much held with him, Tobias, Embiid, and Horford. And then Josh Richardson he's on a 2-year 10 deal, so he'll be a free agent after the end of the next season. So we have to figure out what we're doing. I think move Tobias and go ahead and get that score, but not Tobias. I'm sorry, Al Horford. Yeah, but I would love Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose would fit perfectly.
So you talk about moving Horford. I think call me crazy for even suggesting this, but Victor Oladipo is not a free agent until next summer. So what if you're like, hey, Pacers, we got this for you. What about Al Horford and somebody else and see if we can get Victor Oladipo or free some money up? Because I think either this summer or next summer, one of these 2 summers coming up is going to be, well, excuse me, not summer. This fall
autumn,
is going to be
like
it's going to be loaded. So I mean, if you can get rid of Al Horford, because I clearly don't think Al Horford is going to stay his full.
You may have to package him with Shake. If Shake is not our answer, but he shows something, you might have to package him just to kind of balance that out. But my hope is that Shake can actually be like that guy for us. I don't know if he's going to be, but that's best case scenario. And then you find a way to move Al. But let me ask you a quick question here about the bench before. I know, Gavin, you made one more thing, and then we'll use the last 10 minutes to talk about our starting fives. But how confident are you in the bench? We still have Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson. Both really didn't have that much time to really mesh in here, but they were really good in Golden State. Mike Scott's still off the bench for the team. You still have Kyle O'Quinn, you also have Al Horford, obviously, at the top of the bench. But what are some thoughts on that going into the last 8 games and then the postseason?
See, I like the bench. The bench is more set up for the playoffs. The regular season, it didn't really help, but Alex Burks came in and made that. He was that spark. You had to have a spark. So he's our spark guy. You have Glenn Robinson at third. But, in playoff time, starters' minutes are going to go up. So now you're going to be able to pair Ben Simmons and Embiid, who my 2 are going to play way more minutes than everybody else. And those guys will fit perfectly with either or. So you can match them up. And then you have Mike Scott, who's kind of like a stretch 4, but he can play down low. And then Kyle O'Quinn, I like O'Quinn. So those guys, you kind of can interchange them with the starters, which I really like. So I think the bench is going to be fine.
No, I agree. I think definitely. I mean, you were going Mike Scott and James Ennis. That was about it in some of those Raptors games last year.
Yeah.
Ben's going to be playing high 40 minutes. That's something about Ben Simmons, though. He's got great stamina, great speed. He's so everything except for shooting. Ben's like literally so great at. So I'm excited to see what he'll do. But Gavin, any final thoughts on the bench before we get to our final topic of the day?
Nah, I just hope this works, and maybe I don't see Al Horford being a Sixer next year. I don't see that.
But I got 3 trade scenarios. The stretch is we got to move Embiid. We get Devin Booker. That's the stretch. Buddy Hield and Zach LaVine.
For who? Al Horford?
Kings just signed.
I like LaVine a lot. That's been my personal choice for a while.
Zach LaVine would fit perfectly. He's a bucket getter. But that would be kind of tough because that team doesn't really want to take on money. And the Kings really have no option. They just signed Buddy Hield and they were playing him off the bench, which was ridiculous. Buddy Hield will fit it right in with the Sixers and the money will work out. And there's another guy I forgot, but those 2, I really like Buddy Hield. I think that would be perfect.
I like Oladipo, and I don't want to move Embiid, not one bit. I think you need Ben and Joel. They're like the dynamic duo.
I'd be fine moving Tobias, though. If we can get another true small forward, I'd be fine moving Tobias.
I don't think no team's going to bite on Tobias' contract. He got a max deal.
He got money.
Yeah.
Elton Brand really did that just to prevent losing out on 2 guys in the offseason. But
yeah, exactly.
We'll have to see what happens. We'll continue with that. There's still a lot of promise for this team. It's been a few months since they disappointed us. So we've saved a little bit of that. But let's get into the final segment of the day. I'll start off, and then we can go to Gavin, then we can go to Trent, and then we can kind of break it down. All right, so we'll go me, Trent, and then Gavin. Our starting 5s. Me personally, I'm still trying to process and think it, but I'll start off with the point guard position. I'm going to go with Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time. I know the defensive matchup's not going to be pretty, but we're giving the rest of my team it'll make a little more sense for the spacing shooting guard. Going with Michael Jordan, small forward. Gavin, I'm sure you could guess LeBron James pretty obviously. My power forward, I am going to go with Tim Duncan, and my center, I'm going with Kareem. The one catch for this, we are going pretty much with authentic, pure positions. So otherwise, we probably have talk about like LeBron at the power forward, Kobe at like the small forward, and Michael at shooting guard. But they're both shooting guards. LeBron more of a small forward. So we're going to keep it at that. Tim Duncan, we do want to consider more of a power forward and center. Than Allen Iverson can go either way for the guard position. So Trent, let's get your starting five.
I'm gonna go. I think it's the same one. It's AI, Jordan, LeBron. I'm gonna go Kevin Garnett, and then I'm gonna take Shaq.
I like
Gavin?
that. I'm probably a big Steph Curry fan for those that know, but I'm not picking Steph Curry for this one. I'm going to go with Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna go with Russell Westbrook for this one.
You better have some shooters around him.
I'm gonna get Kobe Bryant.
There you go.
I'm gonna get Kevin Durant, and yeah, I'm pairing them back up. So Trent, you said Kevin Garnett, right? I see a part of me wants to go Chris Webber, but I can't go against Giannis. I know it's early to call the Giannis because it's early. He hasn't really been in the league for that long, but Giannis has been unstoppable for like the past 3 to 4 years, and he's only going to get better, and his jump shot's developing. And why not? To top it off, let me get Shaquille O'Neal.
You're playing 2K. That's what you're doing. You think your team's gonna win in this 2K
You're doing
matchup?
based on the overall stats up inside. I got no problem double leaving Russ open.
But also too, I thought of Russ because of multiple things. And for me, I thought of it as like the dog mentality, the killer mentality. I love Steph Curry, but there's times that Steph Curry goes missing, and I mean miss. I'm talking like 2 for 13 on threes, and once he can't make threes, he's kind of out of the game, and it hurts me to say because that's my guy. You could have said Magic Johnson, but I'm thinking more like right now, kind of when Kevin Durant is healthy.
You have a very modern team, Gavin. Your team is very modern.
I do. And Kevin
What's fair because you've seen them all play. I haven't. A lot of our teams I haven't really seen play, so it's fair.
So Kevin Durant for me, I don't care. He's not 6'11". He's 7 foot. He's a 7 foot with handles and can shoot, and he can kind of almost guard 1 through 5 as well. I got Kevin Durant as my shooter. I think I said Kobe Bryant. I did say Kobe. Kobe, once again, killer mentality. Mamba, I know you got 2 killers on one team that might not work well with one another, but hey, at least I know if one killer is not working, the other one's going to go out and go get his. Giannis is 6'11". No one has an answer for Giannis. Giannis gets better every year, it feels like. And then Shaquille O'Neal is probably one of the most dominant centers when it came to backing someone down and just in the post. No one wanted to drive in. Zach, you talk about Steph Curry. Steph Curry's not going to come in with Shaquille O'Neal standing there. Russell Westbrook wouldn't do the same thing. That's why I put him. So I put him on my team so that wouldn't happen. So, and I thought about Chris Webber. Chris Webber was a great power forward. You got the Tim Duncans, the honorable mentions, Magic Johnson. But I'm going on people, Dirk as well. But I'm going on people that I've watched have great success. I could have said LeBron, but I needed more shooters around the first guy at least. And you go out and get Kevin Durant. You go out and you bring in Kobe Bryant in. Giannis's jump shot's not 100%, but it can go in. And Shaquille O'Neal can just handle himself down in the post.
You got 2 duos reunited with KD and Russ and Shaq and Kobe. Then you throw Giannis in there.
Giannis is the odd man out, and
I don't think you want Chris Middleton though.
No, nor do I want Eric Bledsoe.
It's a good team. Good team.
So let me ask you this question, Trent. I know we got 6 minutes left before the show ends. NBA restart is happening. It's coming along. Every team's in Orlando right now. Everybody's having fun.
Sixers are playing golf.
Sixers are playing golf, and Ben Simmons can't make the fish into the water. So my question for you is, who's your favorite to win?
I'm gonna have to go with the Lakers until I see different. They were clicking, man. That team is deep. It's gonna be Denver. I hope it's Denver versus the Clippers. I like the Clippers too. I think Clippers have the most deep team with just all those pickups they did right before the trade deadline, but they didn't really get to play together because of this whole COVID thing. But those 2 teams, man, I wish they were on the other side so they could play the championship. Because honestly, the East is just a toss. I still think the Bucks are going to go, but whoever wins the West is pretty much I got them for the championship. But I'm going to go with the Lakers. LeBron, man, It's like he's fine wine. He's just aging and getting better. So I got until he shows me different, I'm gonna go with LeBron.
Well, Zach, I know you have one thing, but let me just get into this real quick. I think the Clippers, and the reason why I think Clippers is you got to look at who they have. Kawhi Leonard can guard 1 through 4. Paul George can guard maybe 1 through 4. Pat Bev can go 1 through 3, as we saw versus Kevin Durant, who's 7 foot, and he did well. And Lou Will can give you 40 off the bench. And then Montez Harrell and Ivan Zubac, I'm more in favor of Montez Harrell. He's not no joke either. They got the better Morris brother. LA got the not so great one, and that the Morris brother they had was his Marcus can shoot, and then you got Landry Shaman off the bench, Reggie Jackson off the bench as well. This Clippers team is built better than the Lakers. Go ahead, Zach.
And then my final question here, which team do you think is going to get the 8 seed? And this could be a different team too for the second question. Which team that is either out of the playoffs right now or is the 8 seed would give the Lakers, who are going to be the 1 seed, the hardest time in the first round?
I don't think nobody's gonna give the Lakers a hard time at the 8th seed. Which team do I think? What team I want to get it? I'm a Damian Lillard guy, man. I think he is underrated, and a lot of people don't give him respect. He was dropping 48. He won to LA and beat them. Like he should be most wanted when he gets anywhere in the California area because that's his hometown. He just goes off. He had like 50 on the Warriors. Oh, it's just like that. That's why I stay up late to see that guy. But I hope the Blazers get in. But I honestly think it's going to be the Pelicans. The Pelicans really haven't played together that long with Zion being out, and when he came back, it was just like he was there the whole time. So I think it's the Pelicans. I hope it's the Blazers though. At the end of the day.
Yeah, the Blazers definitely are. They beat LeBron. That was definitely Damian Lillard is definitely probably, in my opinion, the best point guard right now, given that Steph Curry is out with an injury. But like you mentioned as well, I think the Pelicans are definitely going to be able to potentially get that. But is it really going to be a knock on Ja Morant at all if they do end up falling out and not making the playoffs?
I forgot about them. They got the AC right now. I don't think it's a not. Honestly, those 3 teams are a toss up, so it's not like I'll be surprised if any one of them make. I know they're up on a couple games, but I think just the young talent they have, it's just going to be hard for them. Like you have veteran leadership with Drew Holiday and JJ Redick, so that whole bubble thing is not really going to affect them because they're going to come in ready to play. And like the Blazers, they've been there before. They got hurt. I don't know if Nurkic is back. If Nurkic is back, that's going to be like a huge part.
I think he is.
I saw him practicing, but if he's back, like that's the pick and roll that they've been missing. Whiteside, he hasn't been bad with it, but Nurkic really more offensively, fundamentally sound. But I don't think it's a knock on them. I think they're just a young team, so it's just hard for me to. They really don't have no veterans on the team, so it's just hard for me to pick the Grizzlies at this point.
Real quick, and Whiteside, in my opinion, is underperformed for that team. I think Whiteside, when I first saw that move, I felt like Whiteside was going to thrive there and kind of underperformed, but hopefully he can get going. Maybe they can run like what they did in New Orleans with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. Whiteside being a more dominant defender one. I think if the Lakers were to go against the Blazers, I don't think it will be an easy ride as what every Lakers fan thinks it's going to be. I think Damian Lillard is going to give them the business. I think CJ McCollum's going to find a switch. And I think Hassan Whiteside is going to be able to, guard Anthony Davis. But real quick, next year's odds, you got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving coming back. So who's going to be the favorite to go next year? Who do you think is going to be the best team next year?
Until something happens, I'll probably go with the Lakers, but I do want to see what the Clippers moves because they kind of do have some cap space. I don't know if Lou Williams is a free agent this year or next year, but they do have some cap space, so they can make a move. But I would have to go with the Lakers. Lakers they're built for the future. The guys are going to re-sign back if they're free agents. So I would have to go with the Lakers.
Go ahead.
But maybe the Celtics. Celtics is like one piece away. I think Gordon Hayward's contract, so I think they need to get something. They need like one more piece. So if they can get rid of him and then make a move, it'll be great.
Do you think Bradley Beal goes to the Brooklyn Nets, or do you think Anthony Davis leaves to go to Brooklyn on kind of like a Kevin Durant deal?
Only way Bradley Beal leaves if he really wants to. He's been saying that he really doesn't want to. Watch out for John Wall might be on the move. Damian Lillard might be on the move too. I've been hearing rumors about that. So those two guys. And then you still have Chris Paul. I think he's on the last year of his contract, so he might be on the move too. So if somebody can get one of those guys, they can come way up in the process, like a Miami Heat who's been talking about
I can
Chris
see Chris
Paul.
Paul in Miami. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
hearing that.
those teams, and then the second part, Anthony Davis going back to LA.
You don't think he's leaving?
Michael home to Chicago.
That's what I said. Chicago would have to make some crazy leap to get somebody who we don't know about. Like, and then, because why would you leave a championship team in Los Angeles to go home to Chicago to be a maybe a little bit above 500 team? It just doesn't make sense.
If I'm Anthony Davis, and I know where I was talking, but if I'm Anthony Davis, I would look at New York like their original option. I'm not talking about the Knicks.
Nobody's going to the Nets.
Yeah, you don't think
So
so?
the Nets and Knicks.
I'm doing my first one. The Knicks suck, so no one wants to go there. But I'm talking about maybe like the Nets. Remember, that was the original plan. They were going to try to pair up KD, Kyrie, and AD.
They messed the money up with. They signed DeAndre Jordan. They re-signed Torian Prince, so they really don't have that much money, and they have Spencer Dinwiddie. They have to move their whole, basically, the guys you need to win. So that wouldn't work. That's why they were trying to trade for Bradley Beal.
Other than that, though, thanks again for joining us today, Trent. We'll have to continue the conversation. We'll definitely have you on again. It was great to have you on today. But other than that, Gavin, any final statements as we wrap up today's show?
First of all, Trent, thank you for coming on, and 2K later, hopefully, maybe run some threes or something, or get some food or something. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for coming out, and we got an announcement to make. So today, as of literally today, we got a third member on our family, basically. And I want to welcome Philly to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show family. He's been on the background scenes for us for the longest, in the comment section, handling it down, whether it was the comments, whether it's our Instagram, whether it's this. So he's officially part of the family. So we're happy to have you, and we can't wait to work with you even more and go up through the whole way.
Yes, welcome, and we appreciate all your hard work to be continued. And then for our final statement here, we're wrapping up. We are looking into getting some customizable face masks. I think we pointed this out yesterday, but we should have some mock-ups next week early, and then we'll go from there. Should be a fun week 7 coming up. So,
Trey, any final things?
No, thanks for guys for having me. Shout out to Philly, big part. I always see him in the comments. We be going at it, so shout out to you. And thanks, like I said, thanks guys for having me, man.